Hi, I'm Tom Hignite. This is another Gorilla video, and this is the most spectacular home that we've built. Maybe that's a little exaggerating, but this is the Grand Bay among the top couple, let's put it that way. The Grand Bay was a house we built back in 2004. I designed it in end of 03, 04, started building it 04, 05. It doesn't look like anything too extraordinary on the side. It's very well balanced, has round top windows, which is an arch top window. It's not a false arch top window that's made out of wood or something. It's actually the window itself. Pella Windows architectural series. They look like they have divided lights because there are actually grids on the outside of the windows and on the inside of the windows and a piece of foam in between the grid. But I digress. We have a pond in front here. We have a lot of lighting. Built in 04, bought in 06, end of 06, 07, beginning of 07, I think January, and then the folks moved in. One owner home. We've now resold the home, and you're not going to be able to view it again. This house is about 90% of where it was when we built it. They changed a few things, but not much. A little carpet here, a little furnishing difference there. So this is in Richfield, Wisconsin. You can see how we have the driveway set up. The opulence of this house is what we're trying to do. We're trying to recreate a mansion that might have been built 200 years ago. This is a 3,000 square foot ranch. There are some differences to it. There's a little loft area, but primarily a ranch with a finished basement. So it's about 6,000, maybe a little less or a little more square foot total. A very contemporary interior, the way that it's laid out. A very old interior, the way that it's carried out. If that makes sense. Take a look out here and take a look at what we've done with our hashtag type crosshatch type, excuse me, crosshatching of our brick. Gorilla video, by the way, if I screw up on something, we don't stop. If the lighting's bad, which it is, it's 5 o'clock in the day. When we walk that way, you're going to get blinded. Look at the big, massive bollards here that are done just for the grandness of it all, and how this is all tree lined. As you come up, we wanted people to understand that this is a sidewalk and this is a driveway. Instead of making a 24-foot wide driveway, we made a 18-foot wide driveway out of concrete and put a brick pattern here, sidewalk, not just a pattern but actual brick. You notice, if you can without the light blinding you, we have a nice oval planter here. We're introducing the idea of circles into the design right here. You have a circular area here in front of the 3-car garage. We have a circle of brick embedded into the concrete right here. We have some gorgeous brickwork done throughout the home. These are cedar garage doors. Look at the panel on these. These were very expensive. Some of these I remember prices on, but I just remember I've never bought a garage door for more money than I bought these garage doors for at the time. And this was a time of building boom was going very good, 03, 04, and we paid a lot of this without regard to the money. We just wanted to see how far we could go with a home to be rebuilt in the classic way that old homes used to be built. So here you have a 3-car garage with a door in the middle of it. I'll show you around the backyard since it's still light out here, and before we go inside, the sidewalk. I'm a little disappointed with a plastic shed that's been put here. That's not my favorite part, because they wanted some extra storage. This is what they did. I had designed the home so you could come straight up the driveway. If you could spin around and look from right from where you're at, you could come straight up the driveway, and you could put, by taking out one tree and one lamppost, you could put another garage right here. Great big backyard on this home. It's almost an acre. As you come around this side over here, it is fall in Wisconsin. Although it's a very late fall, we don't have a lot of color change. But this area here is one of my unfinished areas that I wish I would have finished, but timing ran out. This was all set up for plumbing for an outdoor an outdoor kitchen. This is a wiring chase to bring in electric. I had this all set up with refrigerator, sink, outdoor, everything going on a L shape here. You can see how we had an electric box coming up here in which to do that. So that never happened. A little iron in the water apparently with the rust on the white lamppost. Back here where you see the grass, you stay there. I'm going to walk through here. This would have been water. All of this was water. This was an item that I think I invented. Maybe I didn't, and I just think I did. But this is an item that I called a flooding patio. And the idea was we filled this with water. This was a pond. The owners had punctured, I'm not sure how, but they punctured the liner of the pond. There's rocks there, you have to be careful where you walk. Well, anyway, it was punctured. And I'm not sure of their whole story on that, but I do know that they decided to fill this in and make it a grass area. And come on down. This was here at the time when we built it. We had built this, the outcroppings, you can see all the rock. If you spin around a little bit, you can see that better. This was all the water's edge. And this was all, this here was the overflow. If you had the water go up to a certain height, it would all overflow into the backyard, way into the back, because it was sloping down slightly. So that's sort of like a French drain on a bathtub or something. You know, you fill up the tub so far and it goes over. So if this ever got a tremendous amount of rain, you'd never actually overflow. Stand back where I am over here. You're going to be looking right into sunlight a little bit as the westerly direction is that way. We had spotlights here and here that would reflect onto the pond. We had the flooding patio concept. Here, stand over where the sunlight is and then look back at me. That's probably the best way to do this, isn't it? The flooding patio went all the way around. The moat went all the way around here. This was a lamp post here. Notice how it's up out of the ground real far. This is concrete going into the ground because the water level could theoretically get fairly high, and we wanted this to stay out of the water. The water would bubble up into these things here, these little insets. You see there's a little grate down there. If I kick that away. This here was a piece of plexiglass would drop into these black painted pressure treated type product. The water was always bubbling up from here. It was bubbling up and it would dump over into the grass area, which was water, the pond. So it would bubble up. It wouldn't go onto here. It would just bubble up enough and go that way. On all three of these, there's three of these openings on this brick wall. And as they would bubble up, let's say you wanted to now do the flooding patio effect. The idea is to flood the patio. The patio is poured with rubber liner under it so that when it eventually would get cracks, which all concrete seems to do, that it would still hold water. So the rubber was brought up onto the underbody of these brick walls. So they're always bubbling up water. You put in the three plexiglass pieces, that stops the water from bubbling into that area and starts to backflow into here. So the water might be as high as that piece of plexiglass would be. All you need is one piece of plexiglass at various heights, so the water will get up to a certain height and flow over. As the water is being essentially diverted out of the pond area and into this area, I had a refill of a nice big, I think it was inch and a half refill hose that was refilling the pond, because that water is now going to go low because it's all being diverted into here. As you would pull out the plexiglass to let this go dry again, because it would go dry in 10 minutes or less, and it would raise up this area because all the water is now dumping into a pond which is already full, and that's where that French drain comes in, because it all drains way out. You never have to worry about it getting too high or too low. Today they've deactivated it, but if you wanted to make this work again, I can't guarantee anything to the new owners of this home, but you could put wood or plexiglass in these areas. Take a garden hose. It would take you quite a while to refill it, but you know, a couple hours, and you could have this thing 14 inches high with water. One downside on that, we had a couple of lamp posts here and a lamp post there. One lamp post here, one lamp post there. On this corner over here, you can stay there. And the flooding effect at one point was getting up and somehow migrating through the lamp post conduit into the basement and dripping. Water and electricity, not a good idea. So I'm not I believe we handled that problem, but they didn't ever use this really as a flooding patio. So they took out the lamp posts. You can see they replaced some of the lamp posts with the black posts instead of the white posts. It's just similar in design. It goes just fine with what's here. Maybe they had to use some of these lamp posts for parts. I'm not sure exactly what happened. So stand over here again. Oh, the sun's getting really perfect for these shots now. And look over at the home. Let's go away from the flooding patio effect. We had part of the patio up in the air so that you could put 3 tables here. Not everybody wants to sit in water. The idea is use aluminum furniture. It's not going to rust. You're able to sit with 2 inches of water or 14 inches of water, and it's just a great effect. Open ceiling on here. If you come on in, you'll see this huge window bank that we have here. I was telling you before about the window grid. If you want to get a little bit closer look, you can see that on here. This is a window grid that is actually on the window outside, so that the shadow lines, when the sun hits it, makes it look like an authentic divided glass window. And they put foam in between here, because it's a double pane window, and in between the interior grid. If you look over here, this is not that way. This is a patio door that's been designed to be cleaned and nice and easy, because obviously you're cleaning around grids with that. So some of the windows in the home have the grids between glass. All right, so take a look at that view. Isn't that something? Look up. We wanted to get daylight into this window bank. So there we go. Of course, people have asked me, could you put glass over that? Well, sure you could, but imagine cleaning that glass, right? So you can see what we did here with the circle again. We brought that circle into play in the front. We're bringing it into play in the back. We've done the circle in many ways in this home. So let's just careful of that step right there. We made a little, this by the way is a master bedroom that's viewing out into the patio and away from the view. What's that?
You didn't show the water.
Oh, I didn't show the water. Oh, thank you, Mr. Cameraman. Gorilla shooting at its finest. All I need is cue cards. So there we have the waterfall. The waterfall was cascading and just kind of really looks beautiful. It's a couple of 3 feet deep in there. It's not just a shallow one. It's pretty deep. And we have some very mature trees here. When we planted them, one of the big downsides on this lot was we have a 1960s ranch over here, a smaller home, and with a home that at the time was $1.1 million or $1.2 million in 04. And it's hard to sell a house like that when you're looking at a smaller, less expensive type house. So let's go over in this direction. This was all water, remember, and little passage coming through here. And we're not really here to look at the backyard so much, but I want to just get a perspective of the backyard from this side. So if you could spin around and take a look. The backyard goes a tremendous amount further than this does. But we're not here to sell the house, as I said. Take a look at the side of the house if you like. This is, these windows here are a round, that round theme again, a round bathtub in the master bedroom. So there you go. Let's go back this direction and let's go all the way back to the front. But let's walk on the sidewalk, give you a good taste of this. Again, this is hardy plank that these are made out of. Hardy plank corners on the home. Hardy plank wraps around the window, of course hardy plank siding. And you can see with the brick sidewalks how we put the little keystone 2 bricks with the little X's instead of just doing a plain sidewalk. There's my not so loved plastic shed. And as we come around the corner, ah yes, perfect time of the day to do this shot. You know, if truth be told, we screwed up on the first video of this. There was no audio. We tried an audio after I'd gone inside and done a little touring, and something fell and we said, uh-oh, we might have stopped the audio. We had no audio, nothing had happened. So hopefully you're hearing this. This is the first entrance when you come in. I want you to go, start way back there, just kind of back up. Love the trees. You know, you come back to a house that you've built and you see it 10 years later or whatever it's been, and 13 years later, and everything's grown and it's just so gorgeous. We have this planter in the middle, And we're inviting you up visually. We had rock speakers everywhere, so you were hearing that as soon as you came in. If you come in this direction, what I wanted to do is start creating things for you to experience right away. This I treated somewhat like a theme park idea when I was designing the home, as an experience, so that you would remember this for a very long time. People who have gone through this home remember it. One of the things you did that was your first experience, besides hearing the speakers as you came up and seeing the home, is this is your first experience area. We had water, big pond here. We still do. It's a big pond here, and this big pond is more than just a big circular pond. If I go down here, you'll see that there's ledge stones that allow me to go all the way down and pet the frogs, if there were frogs here right now, but there are some huge frogs in here, by the way. But if you come over here, I'm going to trade places with you, but be real careful as you're coming down here, because we don't want to hurt you or the camera. So I want to show you, yeah, just be real careful now. I want to show you what we have here. First of all, look in the water. You see all the koi? There are, I don't know, hundreds of goldfish in here. And if you have a koi pond, one of the problems you have with a koi pond is they're hard to see sometimes. In this particular case, we've lost the sunlight now, so we're not seeing the koi as brightly, but it's a perspective. I knew that if we had this bridge going over the koi, your perspective would be great to see the koi, because you're looking down on them. You're not just looking straight at them if you're on the ground. This brick wall down here, it's actually red brick, but it's turned a little rusty colored, is evidence of that first experience. The water from here is diverted out, goes into a small pond up here, and the water migrates through these mortarless areas, and water falls out onto the pond. Now, why am I not showing you that? Well, we have to fill the pond up a little bit more. Lack of rain, we can put it up a little higher, and a little bit of a trick and a gizmo we have to work with, but we can get that to work again, is my feeling. And if you look, this is mortarless brick or pavers, so the water gets pumped up to that pond over here, the small pond. Comes up through a little waterfall over here, a little waterfall over there, gets pumped up, migrates through here, and water falls over there. It's the closest effect you'd have to walking on water. Another circle. See the circle in the wrought iron? All the wrought iron was done by Eric Moebius, M-O-E-B-I-U-S. Look at his website if he has one. In Hubertus, Wisconsin, or Richfield, Wisconsin. Ironwork, hand-carved wood, leaded stained glass, a lot of heavy woodworking and artistic things have gone into this home, and this is sort of an introduction to that. You can see the outcroppings of rocks here, kind of repeating what we had over there. The pond over here gave you a nice mellow sound, because we had rock speakers and we had the water cascading and bubbling, and you'd come in here and you could hear and see how beautiful that would feel. Come on all the way up. You're approaching the front door of the home. Now, as you come up to the front door of the home, just look around. You're heading toward some artistic brickwork here. I think we had a big wreath here, if I'm not mistaken. And so as you're walking down toward this direction, you have something that you're looking at. You're walking toward what some people would call a weenie. So you've got something to concentrate on, a focal point. There's our plaque, Original Miracle Home. Put that in every one of our homes, and you can see the circle again. Look at what we're doing with the stoop. Step over there a couple if you would, and maybe back as much as you can. But you can see how we're circling this through. So the concrete on here is formed to take a circular pattern so the brick can drop into it. You take a look at how we've done the curve here, and how we've done, come on over here, the carvings on the door. We're trying to suggest, as you're walking over a moat into a castle, and this has a lot of castle-like feel to it. Look at the heaviness of the wrought iron here. This is really authentic individual panes of glass put into very heavy hand-carved woodwork. We were hoping that the woodwork would stay looking good and fresh, because it was all done by a furniture company who we had finish out all of the doors and things. And it did, because of that big overhang that we have over us here. It kept a lot of the sun off of here, and sun is the worst enemy. And the sun's rising and setting. These are facing north and south. So let's go into the home, shall we? I'm going to kick off my shoes here and take a look at our circle as you come in. I will walk in a little further. You just stay right there a moment. All right, come on in. Now as you come into this home, we've had people that have come in just this far and have sat here and just looked at what they're seeing, because there's so much thrown at you. This is a television, by the way. It's back then a little flat panel TV was fairly a pricey item, and this had a video that would show me talking about the items in the room. So we had many video DVD players in the home that would, for your own use, we said you'd put on your Christmas videos, your Halloween or birthday party. So when you're actually having a party of some kind, people would be able to come in and feel like they're at a birthday party or Christmas or whatever. Take a look at the top of the ceiling. We're actually in a circular room when you look at the ceiling. It's a circle. It's all real, authentic Brazilian cherry crown molding. This is sort of what I call the elephant in the room, which is our 10-foot long by 4.5-foot high or so mural of Holy Hill, which is a national shrine in the area. Mother Mary was seen there reportedly way back in the 1800s and 1700s. Sorry, I don't know my history entirely on that. But this was my first design I'd done in stained glass. I didn't build it. It was made by Esser Studios, who did the stained glass for the actual shrine for all the redos that they did in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. But I designed it small, kept enlarging it, realizing what I was doing had to be repeated in lead. So the design had to be kept very simple and very flat. But you can see I've got a little barn over here, little farmland, patching going over here, a little house in the distance. Just kind of a neat little house imitating on the other side. The trees and leaves, the graphics. I think it's just a gorgeous piece, so I do say so myself. The wallpaper, if you look at some of the detail up here, this is a metallic wallpaper with little borderings on top of it. And this wallpaper I bought extra so that if it ever needed to be replaced or repaired, we had a lot of it and sold that with the home. The lighting on the ceiling here is quite striking. There's so much lighting in this home. Take a look at the plaster medallion effect here. And then right below it, if you look down, you'll see we have a medallion on the floor, which is all made out of ceramic tile pieces. You see how the way that the flooring was done, where all the divided into 4, and then all of the Brazilian cherry strips going to center. Very high-tech home, very contemporary floor plan, but with the things we've done to the walls and the floors and the ceilings, the light fixtures, etc., it looks very old. And the doors themselves, when you look at this door, I mean, my gosh, the inside of the door looks gorgeous, right? But wait until you see the outside of this door. Take a look at that. Look at that hand carving. Isn't that gorgeous? Just gorgeous. And this is made in Mexico. And very heavy hinges and very heavy, because it's a very heavy door. Take a look at the detail we did here. I hadn't seen this in any other home. I hadn't seen it in a book or in person, at least not to my knowledge. Sometimes subconsciously you see things, but I just started drawing different ways to do atop the door. It looks like something you might have seen before in a home, but yeah, it's new. It's a new way to do it. A lot of round square corners mixed in this home. So let's continue through. If you just do a reverse view of the way that you came in, you'll see how we did the ceramic tile meeting into the hardwood floor. This was the front door coming in, if you recall. There's a lot of speakers in the home. Let me show you in the closet, if I might. Some of our tech is right here. The tech in this house is fantastic. Not only do you have door lights that turn on when you open up the door like your refrigerator, not only do you have a central vac here, not only do you have volume control, for the speakers. We have so many speakers in this home that I really lost track. I'm sure we have well over 50 speakers in the home. And that's so that we don't have to turn up any one speaker very loud. We don't want to have blaring spots that you go through the home and have a real hot spot of sound and then have it be quiet over there. So we have it everywhere. You go into the rooms, you look behind the doors, and there's speaker controls. Over here is your one-touch system. So you can take and turn off all the lights in the house by pushing one button, or you can put the settings on the lights to whatever you wish and make it go a dimmer or brighter. Every single switch in here is a dimmer. If I press it twice on top, it'll go all the way bright. But to me, it's a little gaudy going all the way bright. So what I do is you touch the bottom of it just long enough to where you like it, and then stop. So then you can convert that wherever you walk around the whole house, get the ones on you want, and you can put in probably 6 or 8 different settings in the home. So you come in, press a button, and everything's on the way that you like it for a party, or for night, for the day. Come on in. Welcome to the center of the house. Stay over there. I'm going to walk over here to give you a distance perspective. This is like you're in a shrine. Look at the ceiling. That's rhinestone mixed in with all that finish on the ceiling is rhinestones mixed in with paper mache. It's called Joie Decor. Joie Decor, if you want to look it up. It took one person, Rich Sheeman, it was his name, about a month and a half to put this on. It's put on with a little spatula, literally, inch by inch. And being that this home is now 11, 12, whatever many years it is, 13 years old, I haven't noticed any of it falling off. I also haven't noticed any squeaks on the floor. The flooring was replaced. I used to have a big medallion here that was a big carpet medallion, and then all of the carpet was pie cut going to the center. The new owners replaced it before they sold it. I'm not sure how far before, and it looks great. Lay on the couch if you would, because one of my favorite spots is laying on the couch. This is a Roman domed ceiling. A Roman dome ceiling is something that makes 2 circular arches in opposing directions, and it really looks great. I think it's just such a beautiful thing to lay on one of these couches and look up. By the way, in 2 days from now, the old owners are taking these couches out of here. They're not being sold with the house. The new owners want to get something different, but these are gorgeous. I'm not selling furniture, but they just are held up well. For that period of time, there's hardly a wrinkle on them. The foam in these, or whatever they've used, is just fantastic. They were very expensive pieces. You get what you pay for, don't you? So, as you come into this room, let's do a 4-corner thing. I want you to stand, well, you were already over there, so let's do an opposite. Stand by the fireplace if you would. And let's kind of put me over on the other side here. Isn't that a gorgeous fireplace? The hand carvings on that. Amazing. A lot of the stuff we found in our warehouse, it was the same stuff we had bought for the home, like the piece that was on the mantle there that you just saw, and like these small tables, the lamps. A couple of them were broken. We had 6 lamps. We now have 3. But these fixtures, the wrought iron that you see here, this is a 30-foot circular room with a 21-foot tall ceiling. If I were to sit on a couch, here, have a seat. We are about 18 feet, 16 to 18 feet eyeball to eyeball. This is a great talking distance, because if you're sitting there and I were to go over here and sit on this couch where you were laying a moment ago, it's a good conversation distance. And of course, will be precisely the same. Oh, this is a camera bag. Sorry about that. We'll get that kind of out of the view. How about that? Guerrilla shooting. And there you have the view from there. So one of the harder things to do in a room like this is to hide the tech, because we're trying to design something that looks like it might have been built 200 plus years ago, and trying to build it, and then you're going to put a TV in that environment. How do you do that without destroying the illusion? And if I can put you back by the front door, I'll show you how we do that. You didn't see a TV because I don't have one in this room right now, but if you're to come into a home, what I notice, and I've always subscribed to, so people come into a home, they look forward, then they naturally go to the right. So I put a lot of things on the right. My TV, therefore, I put on the left. I put the TV into an alcove, and this alcove, back then I knew where TVs were going. We had a 60-inch TV in here, but we would fit an 80-inch. TVs were not that thin, but they were getting much thinner, and they were starting to have thin panel TVs out then. But if I move this is kind of substituting for the TV, just to show you the amount of tech we have in the house. If you would look over here and look at some of the wiring that we have here for the home. The various wires, I won't pretend to know what they're all for. I'll leave that up to the folks at Sound World up in Appleton to be able to tell the new owners what all that's for. But we knew that the current TV we had almost filled up the depth of the alcove, but if you get a newer flat TV, you push it back in there, you don't get the glare from the windows. So we were really excited that I was able to come up with a design that would work for a TV and kind of hide the tech in an old house. But while we're on this, every one of these couches can see that TV. On top of that, if you look back in this direction, I put the TV, which is directly where you are, behind you by 15 feet, on a direct access point to the dinette and to the kitchen. So come on into the dinette. We had this set up for 4 chairs, but we had a different table back then. This is different. Have a seat here. Take a look at how that would look if you're looking at the TV, which is kind of where that picture is. We might move that lamp over a little bit, right? Over to the one side. But there you have it. Now let's take a look at how it would look from the cook's perspective for the TV. So if you come on over here, this was my centerpiece over here on the table. I took that off. And if you look kind of from the kitchen sink area, and look at where that picture is again, over that way a little bit, you can see how you can see that TV even from the cook's perspective. I'll put the centerpiece back because I don't want to hold that. We also have seats over on this side of the counter. This will fit 3. These were the original chairs we had with it. The new owners did not take these, so they're going to replace those. On this side we had enough for 3 chairs. We actually had this designed to do 3 and 3, so you had 6 at this island. 2004, this was pretty far out to have an island this big. Today the trend is islands this big and bigger. Step back a few steps, would you? Let's get the whole island in, because you're not getting the island here that I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, as they say. So in the island, let's take a look at what's over here. Now remember, 2004, right? Cutlery drawer. Watch what it does. It has a soft close. In 2004, that was unheard of to have soft close. You also have a warmer by Viking, and built-in. Let's go to the other side of this island if we can. There you go. And on this side, we had the sub-zero refrigerator freezer areas. Isn't that nice? So you have under-counter refrigerator freezers. And let's take a look, just go right around the room here if we can. Here, I'll let you do a ring around the rosy. There you are. You're in the right direction now. And again, as I said, the elephant in the room was the stained glass there. The elephant in the room here is our cabinetry. Come closer. Now I designed the cabinet doors because I knew that if I went thin and thick, you would never see the carvings. These are carved cherry cabinets. So I kept this all flat, 3/4 inch, because if I would have gone any thinner, I couldn't have gotten the carving through. A lot of times you'll see that there's angles on the panel doors. I couldn't do that because I wanted the design to go all the way through. So I did this little groove. Another thing I did that's real different on this cabinet is I designed it to look like drawer fronts. We don't have handles going this way. We have these false drawer fronts right here. And our friends at Burmeister Woodwork, who did all the beautiful intricate woodwork here, really did a job. Now I designed in these little dowels because I wanted to dress that up a little bit. Let's continue to go around the room. We have the waste baskets here, recyclers. We have curved doors, and that gorgeous. Look at the big hardware on that thing. We originally put the cabinets in here, and I had done a drawing of what I wanted, and then we came in and we drew on top of it. I remember one of the items in here as a little sidebar was these corners. Each one of these corners was going to be a couple of $100 because they were curved. And you see all the corners we have here? And these curved corners were a debate between my wife and myself, where she was saying, no, just do them square, just do a little clip off on the corner. And I know I really want them around. I think it has to happen for this house. So you can see all the curved corners, and imagine $200 a piece for each one of the many that are in here. As you go through the, I'm going to turn on the light here. Here we are. We have cabinets that are, these are solid brass. They couldn't be wrought iron. They had to be painted to look like wrought iron, because we had to bend the brass to go with the corner piecings here. Lazy Susan, flip outs. They could have the, I don't recall why we have a surface mount sink, but there it is, a surface mount sink. This is wonderful. This was way ahead of its time at the time. The Bosch type system there for the, this is actually taking that drawer front I was talking about. Now we're putting stained glass into it. And if you put in the, whoa, garbage disposal there. Let me hit the glass, let me hit the lights over here. I don't have all the, there we go. I think I just popped the earphone off of my assistant there. Let me hit some more of these lights here. I don't think I have them all on. Okay. Well, at any rate, as we come through here, we've got false drawers that are going here. I don't know if that helped you see any better or not. There is lighting in these cabinets that normally would show through. That's what I was trying to hit, but I'd have to go to the panel to get that, so, because it's not working at the moment. You can see the tall cabinets over here. This is a Viking range hood that's just like a restaurant. It's about a $2,000 hood back then. You can see how clean this is. Amazing how clean this was kept. And with the tile inset here, and 36-inch range here, and the big, everything just looks so new. I don't know if it wasn't used or what, but griddle in the middle. We have drawers here. These are for, even the interior drawers, look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Had the soft close effect on them. Over here we had cookie trays. Another drawer over here, cookie trays. Over this direction, stained glass over the top again. I'll have to find out why those lights aren't working up there, huh? Because there were lights in here as well. We're going to have to wrap this up. My cameraman's giving me a little signal on the side because we do have some issues with time, and we may have to come back tomorrow to finish the rest of this. Look at the carving on the side of that, how it goes through the design of the stained glass. We'll try to finish the kitchen, but if it suddenly blanks out, you'll know where I went. Take a look at the curved crown molding up on top, how this was all wrapped and curved to go with the room. Each piece of that was templated. Let's go into the back area here, into the pantry, and I'm going to close the door here, show you the leaded pantry here, like a glass pantry door. And if you go in and take a look at the size of that pantry and the light fixture up there, it's going to blind you when you, we had fixtures that would turn on and off as you came into the room, so that we had our motion sensors. This is a spot for a garbage can that we generally put in our pantries that are large like this. A lot of drawers. You have 4 drawers there. We have 2 drawers here. These are California closet organizers done in the cherry color. The wallpaper in here is changing. Each room, as you go into it, we want to give you something new and surprising. Let's go into the laundry room and I'll show you what's new and surprising. Again, we have a video screen here that shows you what your looking at. Back in the day, in '04, front-loading laundries were kind of unusual. And we gave you a front loader, which was considered very exotic. We also built it up on a platform. They didn't have the platforms in those days, but we built it up on a platform because it just seemed like a good idea. So if you step back a couple here, take a look at the curved wall. I think this is, I was talking about what impresses people when you come in. The curved wall here was the item that really impressed quite a few people. Then you have the closet over here, which is, again, lights up when you open it up. The curved top without the carving in the middle, like you saw in the foyer. You notice how it doesn't have the carving that comes around. Take a look at the door over here. The doors that you've seen so far have carvings on that hang off the outside, so this couldn't have that. So watch what we did with the pocket door, because it has to go into the wall. You can't have the carvings protruding off of the door. But it's just such a fine detail as to how that was done. And by the way, here you're seeing a tapering panel, which is what you couldn't carve through that on a thin, thick type design on those kitchen cabinets. So to close that up, 3-foot wide doors throughout the home, by the way. 1 minute left. We might be running out of time. Let's see the powder room here. Kohler had done, here, go on in there. Kohler had done all of the fixtures in the home. Master bathroom, master bedroom has some fantastic fixtures. Love the handles, love the toilet. Each toilet was different. You see what we did with the surround here. And if we're running out of time on a 1 minute timer, this, by the way, is the entrance into the garage. Let's see if we can get the garage. This is on a spring hinge, so it's going to close on you, cameraman. You can see a circle that's in the garage floor. We had this painted with epoxy at the time. For those of you who think that epoxy doesn't wear off, this is what epoxy looks like 12 years down the road. This is a 3-car garage. It looks like a 2-car garage. You remember the other door? Come on in and take a look at this is actually more of a warehouse. Well, that was a jump cut. What you just saw was me in a little different area, and then we don't do a lot of that in guerrilla shooting, but we ran out of film, or in this case tape, or in this case digital space on whatever. Anyway, the second part of this, part 2, you can click on or you can stay on, but take a look for part 2, because we're going to hit the rest of this house and it's going to be fantastic.